So hopefully the technology will behave itself after this. Well, welcome to this Coach-A-thon, this energetic NLP energy spa coaching Coach-A-thon. And I'll remind you, if you do put things in the chat that you want me to read, unless they're private, please put them to everybody. And the other thing is make them brief, because I can't really read along. Sometimes people put in really long, interesting things, but I just can't read that and be running the Coach-A-thon at the same time. So what we're going to be doing, we'll be doing pretty quickly, we're going to start doing group energy work. So the whole time, actually, we're going to be doing group energy work. At times, we'll be doing very specific processes, but the energy will be going for everybody the entire time. At times, I will, when people, if you raise your hand, I'll call on you, and you can do one of a few things. If you have questions about the upcoming Discover Your Miraculous Abilities program and whether that's a fit for you or any other questions about it, I'm happy to answer that. And you can also ask questions about problems you're having, challenges you're having, goals you want to achieve, and I'm happy to do some energy work, little mini sessions with you of energy work and readings. And even though I call them mini sessions, they can be very powerful. And then when you go back into the group, the energy is still going to be working with you. I also will be at times explaining different concepts from energetic NLP. And lastly, I'll be talking at times, I'll tell you different things about the program, the Discover Your Miraculous Abilities program that starts next Saturday. Okay, so we have lots to do in the 2 hours. And if you need to leave earlier, I'd love it if you're here the whole time, but this is the kind of thing you can come in and out if you need to. It's not like a training program where you need to be there the whole time. So I'll briefly introduce myself because some of you know, a lot of you know me, but some of you don't. And let me just rearrange my screen here a little bit and check something in the chat. Okay. So welcome. I'm Art Geiser. I'm the creator of Energetic NLP. And Energetic NLP is energetic neuro-linguistic programming. If you've never heard of NLP, you've heard of our most famous practitioner, who is Tony Robbins. And he has his own way of doing things, the rah-rah and hot, super high energy. And, he brings his personality into it. And he has a big personality. But the core of his ability to change people's lives comes from his training in NLP, and neuro-linguistic programming. In fact, I think we started about the same time. I think he's done a little better with the marketing than I have, but we started at very similar times in NLP. And I've been an NLP trainer since 1985. I studied with all the developers of NLP. A couple of them became my mentors. I was really blessed in that whole area. And around the same time, I started more intensely studying healing work, energy work, psychic development, intuition development. And in fact, a number of the people I met that I was studying NLP with, because this was in Marin County, which is north of San Francisco. And if you throw a rock in Marin County, you hit a therapist, energy worker, an astrologer, or a Silicon Valley, exactly. And so they would introduce me to different teachers, and I started really intensely studying it. And for a while, I kept them separate. I did my NLP things, and then I did my healing energy things and spiritual principle things. And then I realized each of these fields had different strengths and weaknesses. And when you put them together, you had something much more powerful than any of them by themselves. So the NLP with the spiritual principles, with the healing and transformative energy work, took things to a whole new level. And that was the birth of energetic NLP back in around 1985 is when it was starting. And I really started putting it out there more probably in, about 1990. And it's been developing ever since. There's some concepts and principles that are unique to energetic NLP. And I'll be explaining some of those pretty quickly here because it'll be important for the work we're doing together. And one of those principles is that I don't want you to believe anything that I say. And let me repeat that. I don't want you to believe anything that I say. I want you to explore the ideas that I put out there. I don't believe what I'm telling you. I'm telling you what I think at this point in my personal and spiritual development. I'm not saying it's the absolute truth. And there's a lot of great people teaching energy work and NLP in a lot of fields now. And so many of them are like telling you the truth. This is how your chakras are supposed to look, and they're supposed to be this, and they're supposed to be that. And they do great work. And to me, it's still very limited. I don't think any of those models are absolutely correct. I think that they're approximations of a much more complex and beautiful reality. So a lot of people, and I'm one, when I look at somebody's chakra, I don't see what they tell you it's supposed to look like. I see something that's dynamic and multidimensional and hard to put into words. And we need to simplify that in order to do things in life. And those simplifications are very, very powerful. Though as soon as you start thinking they're the absolute truth, you create this box and you keep yourself from going beyond it. So I really mean it when I say, I don't want you to believe what I'm saying. I just want you to explore what I'm saying. One of the goals in energetic NLP is always that you connect more with your spirit and your deep inner human wisdom, so that you're more and more getting information directly from your spirit and wherever your spirit gets its information, and from your deep inner human wisdom, which is a very practical wisdom. It is wisdom, but the way that I think of it, and again, I'm not saying, again, this is an absolute truth. It's just a way of thinking. When I look at somebody's spirit, I see something vast and multidimensional and in many ways like the perfect parent. And what I mean by the perfect parent is your spirit most of the time will go, whatever you want, dear. You want to feel love and be affluent. Well, that's a valid spiritual path. You want to feel lonely and struggle. That's another valid spiritual path. Not because your spirit doesn't care, because your spirit totally cares about your personality and your body. It's just giving you free will to explore different spiritual paths. And I think all of you are at a point in your spiritual development that you realize there's all kinds of spiritual paths that are valid, but a lot of them are not enjoyable, to put it mildly. So in energetic NLP, the goal is to more and more get rid of what the Dalai Lama calls unnatural suffering. So natural suffering, according to him, is like we're in bodies, things can happen to us. Everybody we care about is in bodies, things can happen to them, and it's just the nature of this reality. Unnatural suffering is the suffering we create through karma, spiritual contracts, unconscious programming, and energetic programming that doesn't have to be there. And that doesn't make it wrong. But the goal is to have less and less of the unnecessary, unnatural suffering. And when you do have the natural challenges in life, that you feel guided, nurtured, and supported by your spirit and by your deep inner human wisdom and by the greater spirit. And when I talk about the greater spirit, we all have different spiritual and religious beliefs. So I'll just use vague terms like the greater spirit, and you can interpret that according to whatever that means to you. But in energetic NLP, we like to have a big tent. Then we all, where all of us can work together and we don't all have to have the same views on everything. People in the energetic NLP community, tend to have similar values in terms of wanting personal and spiritual development, wanting to be authentic, wanting to be a positive influence in the world, wanting to help make the world a better place. But our spiritual and religious beliefs cover quite a wide range, which I think is fantastic. So I'll use vague terms at times, and the intention is that you can keep it vague or you can fill in your mind what that means to you. So a couple more concepts before we get started. there's a concept in energetic NLP that's unique to energetic NLP. It's called your miraculous self. Your miraculous self. It's different than your high self. Your high self just exists. Your miraculous self kind of sort of exists until you start using it, and then it really exists. It's kind of like a muscle in your body that you rarely use or never use. It's there, but it really can't function. But when you start using it, it gets supple, it gets strong, you can do things with it. Well, your miraculous self doesn't get strong until you start consciously working with it. And what your miraculous self is, it's when your spirit with its vast awareness and your deep inner human wisdom with its very practical awareness come together and are working together to guide you, nurture you, heal you, help you manifest, support you. And you might think, well, doesn't my spirit and my deep inner human wisdom automatically work together? Well, I've been doing this work, I don't know, over 37 years, and the answer is no. Probably in the areas of your life where things just flow, they're probably working together. But in other areas of your life, they're not necessarily opposed to one another, but they're not coordinating. And again, because your spirit has such a vast perspective, well, I'll explain it this way. I don't know if you've ever known somebody who's very spiritually advanced, but their life's a mess. That may fit some of you. It certainly fit me at times. So, I mean, you can advance spiritually in a very transcendent way. They're like, oh, I'm connected to the realms and I'm one with everything, and that's fantastic. But my life's a mess. And your deep inner human wisdom, when it's talking to your spirit, goes, how about let's making life more joyful, more authentic, more satisfying, more meaningful. So your miraculous self is when these two major forces in your life come together, are aligned to guide you, nurture you, heal you, support you, and help you manifest. And in a moment, we're going to create your miraculous self. For those of you who've worked with me before, think in terms of strengthening your miraculous self and strengthening its ability to work both with your conscious mind, your unconscious mind, and your body. And for those of you who haven't done it before, it's actually, everything in energetic NLP is simple, to be honest. It may take some practice, but everything's simple. And there's three other aspects to energetic NLP that you need to know right now, and then we'll get into things. One is you set your intention, and you're all familiar with that. One thing I do like to say is we kind of get beaten up with this idea that you always have to have a specific intention about everything. And if you have a specific intention about things, that's fine. Though my teachers taught us to always go or better, because what's possible might be better than what you're imagining. And you've all had things happen in your life that were better than what you were thinking of. So I was taught, if you have a specific intention, add or better. But people get hung up a lot of times because they go, well, I want a new job or career or business, but I don't know what I want to do. So how can I have an intention? Where your intention can be that you have this new job, career, and business, and you love it. It's fulfilling, it's financially rewarding, you're helping people, whatever your list is. So your intention can be the kind of life experience you want to be having. You don't have to have all the details if you don't know what they are. So if you have the details, great, just add or better. If you don't have the details, think about the experience that you want to have, and add or better to that too. So we always set intention, and we always give permission. And later I'll be talking a lot more about permission, because permission is actually quite an interesting topic, and there's a lot of pieces to it. It's not just conscious permission. And we're kind of trained to think, oh, it's you visualize what you want, and that's all there is to it. Like, no, there's a lot more to it than that. There's levels of permission, creating whole being permission. And later in these 2 hours, we'll get into that. For right now, just think in terms of you'll set your intention, you'll give conscious permission for it to happen. And then once you've formed your miraculous self, I will encourage you to put your miraculous self completely in charge. I'm a very analytical person. I managed a research lab in reproductive endocrinology, which we were studying how estrogen and progesterone affects the various tissues in a woman's body. I managed that lab I managed it for 9 years. I worked in the lab for 11 years. So, I mean, I love my logical mind, but through the energy work and spirituality and through NLP, I learned the limitations of the logical mind. You will get much, much more out of this Coach-A-thon if you put your miraculous self in charge, if you go beyond the limitations of your conscious thinking. You've already done a lot of wonderful things with your conscious thinking, but then you hit a ceiling. You go beyond that ceiling by letting your spirit and your deep inner human wisdom, your miraculous self, guide you. And then the fourth part, and this should be the easiest part, but for a lot of people, this is the hardest part, it's to use your imagination. When the processes are going on, if you're doing when I was first learning energy work, I'd be doing a process and I'd be going, is it working? Should I be feeling something? Shouldn't I be feeling something? I'm having mundane thoughts. Is that bad? And is somebody else having a more spiritual experience than I'm, all that kind of analysis kind of thing. Am I doing it wrong? Is the teacher doing it wrong? And if you do that during the processes, you'll get 100th out of what you could get out of them. The answer to that, the solution, is to use your imagination. So while the processes are going on, bring out your playful inner child and just pretend that they're working. When you were young, you knew how to play imaginary games. You could pretend to be, a great leader, a dancer, an artist, a singer, a rock star, a great writer, astronaut. When I was young, cowboys, and whatever it is you imagine. And you weren't going, am I really an astronaut? You were pretending you were an astronaut. Reality had nothing to do with it. So when the processes are going on, if you pretend the energies are coming in, your miraculous self is using them to clear what blocks you and to activate your chakras and your energy system and your unconscious mind to have more success and happiness in life, just pretend that's happening. Imagine it's happening. Later, you can analyze this all you want. So now, don't fight your analytical mind. So if you're a big time analyzer, let's say like I am, part of your mind will be analyzing things. And that's fine. You don't have to shut it down. Just turn down the volume and just be mindful of it. Just know what's going on. Don't fight it. Don't feed it. And just go back to imagining. And it can be happening in the background. You all know how to ignore things. You learn that at least when you were a teenager. We all learned how to listen to adults and go, and but we weren't really listening. So you do know how to ignore it. And when I say ignore it, again, you're not suppressing it or resisting it. Just be mindful, know it's there, and leave it alone. Okay. So we're gonna enough talking. Let's get into this. So let's create your miraculous self. So if you want to set your intention that right now you're creating your miraculous self. And give 100% permission for your spirit and your deep inner human wisdom. And you don't need to know what those words mean. Your spirit knows what it is. Your deep inner human wisdom knows what it is. Just let your spirit and deep inner wisdom figure this out. So give 100% permission for your wisdom and spirit to figure this out and create your miraculous self right now. And then just imagine, pretend it's happening. Take a couple of easy, deep breaths. And then just pretend you have a miraculous self now. Just imagine you have one. So now we're going to really get into it. So we're going to set our group energy space. We're going to do some group energy work, and then I'll invite you to raise your hand, which, depending what your device is, on most of them, I think there's something at the bottom called reactions. If you click on it, there's a bar that goes raise hand, and raise your hand, and then I'll be calling on people, and we'll go back and forth between one-on-one work and group work. There was a time when I thought that the only reason you did group work was you could make it less expensive for people. And then one of my teachers helped me to realize the group work actually is a plus. So if John brings up something, and I'm doing one-on-one with him, first of all, the energy will be working with everybody the whole time, and your miraculous self will be in charge of that. So the entire time we're working together, energy will be working with you. But if John brings something up that's a challenge, it may resonate something in you, and your miraculous self may go, oh yeah, that's something for us to work on too. Or if John brings up something that you really like, then you just tell your miraculous self, well, I'd like my version of that if that's appropriate. And I can't tell you how much it's expanded my life by hearing other people's challenges and what their goals are. And at times I'll ask people to share their experiences. And again, that expands it for everybody. So if it's a problem of some kind, it helps do what we call lighting up. In energy work, lighting up means when somebody, when somebody brings something up, maybe you're feeling fine and somebody talks about terrible things, and all of a sudden you're not feeling so good. That's because things we call lit up. And that's because when you look at it energetically, it changes. It either gets brighter or darker, but it looks different. And people call it lighting up. And in this session, it's good to get lit up, because then the energy working with your miraculous self can work on whatever gets lit up. So we'll be going between group work, individual work. I'll be talking about Discover Your Miraculous Abilities program, also called DIMA, Discover Your Miraculous Abilities, that starts next weekend. And yeah, so that's enough for now. Oh, one more thing. Some of you have trouble visualizing. Until I learned how to do it, I had a lot of trouble consciously visualizing. So when I describe something in visual terms, the secret is it doesn't matter if you really see it or not. Let me repeat that. It doesn't matter if you consciously see it or not. If you imagine that you're seeing it, your unconscious mind will see it. Your miraculous self will see it. So if you consciously see it in holographic glory, great. If you pretend you're seeing it, works equally well. So for those of you that have trouble visualizing, take a deep breath, relax. We want to set our group energy space, and at the end, we'll dissolve it. So imagine a giant gold ball of energy. And we have people in this group all over the world, or over large parts of the world. And just imagine there's this giant gold ball of energy. And while we're working together, we're all inside of it. And in energy work, like I said, energy work is so much easier than people make it. There's a principle: energy follows your thoughts and intentions. But let me back up. What makes it hard is that we have unconscious and energetic programming and resistance and karma and spiritual contracts that get in the way, but we'll be talking about that. But the basic things are simple. So energy follows your thoughts and intentions. Energy follows your thoughts and intentions. So when we declare things about our group energy space, our energetic NLP energy spa space, they start happening. So let's declare this as a space of miracles. And again, just imagine that's true. It's a space of effortlessness. It's a space where each and every one of us feels loved, acknowledged, appreciated. And if you're new to the energetic NLP community, we really do appreciate one another. there's a lot of gratitude for all these amazing people that are attracted to this work. Imagine this is a space where you feel validated in your right to exist. Your right to be authentic if you want to. Your right to have the intention and the pursuit of happiness, meaning, health, vitality, love, abundance. Let's declare this is a space where it's easy to heal and let go of old, unconscious limitations, beliefs, and programming. And it's a space where it's easy to let go of old, energetic and spiritual beliefs and programming. And in this space, as you release old blocks, as you release old programming, this is a space where your miraculous self will immediately replace them with wisdom, knowledge, concepts, skills, and abilities from your miraculous self. And that happens outside of your conscious awareness. So just imagine that during this session, as old limitations and beliefs and programming dissolve, your miraculous self immediately replaces them with wisdom, knowledge, concepts, skills, abilities, and attitudes, and give 100% permission for that to happen. You can trust your miraculous self. You don't need to monitor it. Very nice. In energetic NLP, we use a lot of symbols and metaphors. Symbols and metaphors activate the abilities in your unconscious mind and in your miraculous self. So imagination and pretending create a portal and an opening for your abilities, and so do symbols and metaphors. And one we use a lot is the idea of a magnet, because almost everybody played with magnets when they were a child or they saw somebody else do it. And your unconscious mind knows a magnet is this thing that has energy. If you hold up a pin and you let go, the pin goes to the magnet. All the work is being done by the magnet. So your unconscious mind understands this as a metaphor. So imagine outside of the room you're in is a big energy magnet. And give your miraculous self permission to use it to clear out of the room you're in any energies that aren't yours and aren't helpful. Energies that aren't yours and aren't helpful. In energetic NLP, we don't talk about negative and positive energies. And I can talk more about that later. That's kind of a rabbit hole that leads to not good places. Just imagine either the energies are yours or not yours. They're helpful or they're not helpful. And the third thing is they either belong in present time or they're from the past and they don't belong here. So let your miraculous self figure it out and give it 100% permission to use the magnet to clear out of the room you're in energies that aren't helpful for you, aren't yours, aren't helpful, or don't belong in present time. And then give your miraculous self permission to fill the room you're in with energies that will help you with what your goals and challenges are that you want to work with during this session. Just pretend all these wonderful energies are coming in. And if other people are in the same room, that's fine. Just as we can all be in the same room and have our phones working, everybody's at different frequencies. So you're just bringing these energies in for you. And now let's do the same thing for our group energy space. So we're all in this giant gold ball of energy. Imagine there's a big magnet out in space. And we're going to send off any energies in our space that aren't ours and aren't helpful or don't belong in present time. And while we're working together, set your intention and give permission for all of our miraculous selves to form a council of miraculous selves. And that multiplies their power. So while we're working together, all of our miraculous selves are coming together as a council to work with us. And imagine that our council of miraculous selves is sending wonderful energies into our space, into that gold ball that will help us clear blocks, heal, release old emotions, activate our chakras in positive ways, help us achieve more of our goals or better. And during these processes, there'll be this whole symphony of energies around us. And your miraculous self will decide which of those energies it wants to use. So the energies can all be there, but your miraculous self will pick the ones that it wants and will decide what it would like to do with it. Okay. And start thinking about what your goals are for this session. What would you like enhanced in your life? You can think in terms of problems, you can think in terms of the outcomes you want, or you can think of both. And let your miraculous self create little symbols out in front of you. And it doesn't matter what the symbols are. Just, they can even, I always even use the same symbol pretty much. I just see a little ball of energy and each one is different. But just let your miraculous self figure that out and let symbols come out in front of you that represent the goals, outcomes you want or better, and other symbols for the challenges in your life that you want help with. And let those symbols float up towards the top of the gold ball that we're all in towards the top of the energy space. And let's all set our intention that each and every one of us is going to get a wonderful enhancement in our lives as a result of what we're doing together now. Set your intention that each and every one of us, as a result of what we're doing now, is going to get a wonderful enhancement in their lives. And this includes you, of course. And if there's anybody that you know that you'd like a healing sent to, put a little symbol out in front of you for those people. Now, we never inflict healings on people, so they'll only receive a healing to the extent that their spirit wants it. And take those little symbols and float those up to the top of the energy field. And let's set our intention that in the background, while we're all working, they're all getting healings to the extent that they're open to it. Again, we never force a healing on people. And yes, you can include, you can include your pets, your plants, as being very human-centric there. Okay, so before we I start calling on people individually. Set your intention that the energy that's starting to come in now is going to start clearing blocks and limitations from your unconscious mind and from your energy field. And just give your miraculous self 100% permission to be in charge of that. And just take an easy, deep breath, and we're going to get the energy working with everybody. And the intention is these energies are going to help you in terms of working with the challenges in your life, improving them, and helping you manifest your goals or better. And now I'm going to, while that continues, so just know the energy is working with you the whole time. And knowing that whatever people brings up is going to help light up things in you. It might be the same thing or something that relates to it somehow. You can start raising your hand. And I'm not necessarily going to call on you in order. As a friend of mine said once, I will pay attention to that. But a friend of mine once said, well, if we're going to teach intuition, we ought to follow it. So I may bounce around a little bit. And I might not. So, and when I call on you, we don't want the whole story about something, just a little bit of information about whatever the challenge or the outcome is that you want. And if I need more information, I'll ask you. And I may get messages to give you. If I give those messages again, I'm not asking you to believe them, not believe them, just to explore them, see what happens. So I'm going to ask April, is it Pal, to unmute?
Hi, Art. Thank you.
Sure. What's on your mind?
There we go. My hands-free is working weird. So I wanted help, please, with my my health and then also my abundance. And I continue to create places that are uninhabitable to live in. So I really need help with that right now. Thank you.
I'm sorry to hear it, and I'm glad you brought it up because there's a lot of punishment energy in your space, which is not unusual. And I guarantee almost everybody in this room has at least some punishment energy in your space. Our societies, for the most part, are really big on punishment. And I always like to use the example of Santa Claus. I mean, we always think of Santa Claus. He's so happy, he's so jolly. But if you're the naughty kid, you get a lump of coal. Not only do you not get a gift, but he punishes you and humiliates you. That's how indoctrinated we are that punishment is the way to go. And you have a lot of punishment energy. I'd say 70% of it is ancestral. Another 10, 15% is past lives. There's some childhood stuff too. But it's one of the things that you came in to work on this lifetime. So this is the perfect thing to bring up. So let me help you with that. And for everybody else, give permission, set your intention to give permission for the energy to work with punishment energies in your space. Because again, it is so indoctrinated into us. And let me just clarify, punishment energy is different than setting boundaries and, and having limits and stuff. Punishment energy is somebody was bad or wrong and they must be punished. And often it gets turned against ourselves. And that's what's happening to you, April. Take an easy, deep breath. We're starting to drain a lot of it. And again, a lot of it's ancestral. And that doesn't mean they were bad or wrong people, but that got programmed into them. in a lot of spiritual groups and religions, will program that. I'm not judging this, but they program into us, you're bad, you're unworthy. I know this is a serious topic, but for all of you, you can smile and relax about it. The energy is actually more powerful if you're playful.
Yeah, I feel it. I feel a lot lighter. Thank you.
Yeah, you're really releasing a lot. And
I've seen so many of my lives where I've lost my head for
yeah,
speaking my truth and things like that. And and I have a lot of throat chakra stuff and, thyroid and things like that from the throat chakra stuff. So I definitely resonate with what you said. Thank you.
you're welcome. And, and people that are attracted to energetic NLP, it's fairly common, like burned at the stake or stoned.
Yes, that too. I've seen that too.
There's a part of it's going, oh, I better not speak my truth this lifetime.
Yeah, I want to turn into Joan of Arc again.
I remember saying that to somebody who was reading me back in the early 90s, I think. And he goes, do you actually see that happening this lifetime? I went, well, no. And he goes, I don't either, Yeah, and for another thing, April, and this other people are lighting up around this, affirmations can be powerful. I would start with ones, so rather than going, I am worthy and I deserve to live in a good place and stuff, start with more general, like everyone's worthy. Everyone deserves to be in a good place. And when that feels solid, then you might want to move to the individual. But because the first ones that everyone is a real match for your values. And it helps soothe and heal the punishment, unworthiness stuff.
Yeah, I feel that. Thank you. That definitely resonated, because when you said like I am worthy, it's like my brain's like, okay, really? But when you said everyone is worthy, I was like, oh my gosh, I wrap my arms around that. Yes, thank you.
And the one last thing for you and for everyone, when you a way to avoid, like if somebody goes, I am healthy, and part of your brain goes, no, you're not. There's a way you can do that where you go, how did I get so healthy? Like try that, and you don't hit the resistance.
I like that. Thank you.
Yeah, I learned that from someone. It's funny because mostly I don't like his work, but when he said that, I went, brilliant. That's great. When I say I don't like his work, not that it's bad, but this was the one thing you said that went, now that's brilliant. So start, emphasize the everybody, and then also do like, how did I end up living in such a great place? How did I get so healthy?
Nice.
And the energy will keep working with you. Thank you for bringing those up, because that lit up pretty much everybody.
Yeah, thank you, Art, and thank you for picking me. I really appreciate that. Thank you.
My pleasure. And next, is it Firas?
It's Firas.
Firas. Okay.
Thanks so much for hosting this.
You're welcome.
I've been struggling with major food allergies the last month and a half, just a lot in my throat and solar plexus. I don't feel like it's mine, but even if I clear it, it keeps coming back. Yeah,
let's look at that. And again, for anybody with allergies or in general, allergies are a form of resistance. We work a lot on resistance in energetic NLP. That allergies aren't just physical. There's something called psychoimmunology. And so programming in our brain can trigger allergies. And in NLP, Robert Dilts years ago started playing around with just ways to change the way what we're resisting. So an allergy, for everybody, if you don't know it, an allergy is when your immune system is fighting something it should just leave alone. So if it left it alone, things would be okay, but it fights it. And your immune system is supposed to fight some things, but allergies when it's fighting things that it shouldn't be fighting. And there can certainly be a physical aspect to that, but there's a big mental aspect. So tell me if this feels, it feels like you're kind of in resistance to a lot of things right now. Is that your experience?
Yeah.
Yeah. So if it's okay with you, and when you lessen resistance, that isn't about, you don't have to go to acceptance. So as you release resistance, you can go to acceptance, but you can go to determination, you can go to motivation, you can go to a lot of things. So lowering resistance isn't about accepting things that you don't want to accept, but it's about not fighting them in the moment. You probably heard the expression, what is. And it's being able to go, okay, this is what is at this moment, and I'll either accept it or I'll try to change it. But I don't have to. It comes back to when I was saying before, we don't use negative and positive in energetic NLP, because as soon as you label something negative, you go into resistance to it because you're judging it as wrong, that it shouldn't exist, as opposed to going, I want it to be different. Is that distinction clear? Because I can explain it more.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. So think about the things that you're unhappy about and just notice what happens if you just go, okay, they exist. So on some spiritual level, they were supposed to exist. That doesn't mean they need to continue to exist in the form they're in. Yeah, so you're really changing your energy. So let me work with your energy. But that's for everybody. It's being able to and for everybody, some of you may have seen the movie Gandhi that was made a few years ago. And apparently they really tried to make it as accurate as they could. And there's a scene where Gandhi is talking to, I should find out what his title is, but whoever the British authority was who was in charge of India, and they're having a meeting. And Gandhi says to him, I understand why you want to stay in India. I understand that. You need to understand that you're going to have to leave. But he says it just kind of the way I'm saying it, that it's just like, I get it. Of course you want to stay here. And you are going to have to leave. And the way that the other official responded was really different than if he was going, you're wrong and you're bad and you shouldn't be here and you're oppressing us, all of which might be true, could argue. But that wasn't going to work. But being able to not be in resistance to him, but still be in a high state of motivation and determination. So for everybody, I hope that's helpful, that distinction. So, and the reason I'm going through this is we can have unconscious blocks to lowering resistance, because a lot of times we think, well, if I'm not resisting it, I have to put up with it. It's like, no. In fact, when you get out of resistance, often you'll be much better at changing things. And how are you feeling right now, Firas?
Yeah, I'm feeling, I'm still working with the resistance, but it's feeling better.
Yeah, and don't resist the resistance. I don't think you are, but that's for everybody. Just kind of go, resistance is normal, it's human, and I'm letting go of a lot of it. Here we go. Something that will help your throat and thyroid. There is the blockages of what you want to say, but there's also somebody's, this may be from the past. I'm not sure that it's even in the present, but somebody's got their energy in there because they want you to hear their message. So at some point, you could do it now or later. Just, get quiet and kind of go, okay, I'm listening. What do you want to say? And whatever, it doesn't mean you need to agree or not agree with whatever it needs to be said, but there's all this energy that wants you to hear this message. And I don't know that you need to hear it, but whoever this was, I keep feeling like it's the past wanted you to get the message. Can you feel that? It's lightening up with whatever you're doing with it.
Yeah, it does feel like less constriction.
Yeah. Take a couple of easy, deep breaths and just let this process happen. And I will mention for you and for everybody, any of you that are attracted to and can come to the Discovery of Miraculous Abilities program next weekend, all 3 days, we're going to be doing a ton of clearing of unconscious blocks, energetic blocks, ancestral programming, societal programming, karma, spiritual contracts. So all of you, it's going to be 3 days of a lot of clearing and a lot of opening, but a lot of clearing. Okay, well, the energy will keep working with you, but you're looking a lot better. How are you feeling right now?
Better. Thank you so much.
You're very welcome. Okay, one moment. Oh, thank you, John. It was the viceroy, the governor of a country or province who rules as a representative of the king or sovereign. Viceroy. They was talking to the viceroy. And there was a question, will Daima Discover Your Miraculous Abilities be recorded? If you can't make it live, no. I used to do Daima. People would have to fly in. It was live in person pre-COVID. And the intention is to have that group energy and to have it be a in-time process. Now, if you can only make the first 2 days, you don't have to, a lot will happen the third day, but you will get a lot out of just the first 2 days. You can't come just to the third day unless you've studied a lot with me. I love that. I love those of you who know that. Lord Viceroy Irwin was the guy. Cool. I do like his. I'm a bit of a history nerd. Yeah, and particularly, I'll put something in the chat too, so you all have it. This is a free series of videos, and it would help prepare you for Daima, or like Catherine said, she has to come a little late on Saturday. That would help you. It's blockbuster7.com for the recording. www.blockbuster7.com. It's free. It's 4 videos that start teaching you some basic but really powerful energetic NLP processes. And if you do have, well, it'd be valuable whether you're going to go to Daima or not. But if you are going to Daima, you'll be primed and ready. And let me ask Jude to unmute. There
Hello,
you are.
Art. Here I am. Hi.
Hi.
Hi. Thank you. It's amazing how other people's questions probably light up everyone else,
Yeah.
Even if it's not your specific issue. Thank you. I would like I'm having some actually physical manifestations of the stress that I'm under due to financial situations. And that, that's the issue I'm dealing with now. And then second, I'd also like to ask, and this is for everyone, probably a lot of people are wondering, how if you think it's ancestral or past life energy blocks, what is the best way to deal with those? Thank you.
Yeah, a great question. So I'll start with your question. Well, actually, I'll start working on your energy too, but
Okay.
take a deep breath. And so there's an idea in energy work that everyone's the sovereign of your energy field. So if any of you've looked at that page of Daima, there's a picture of some people wearing gold crowns for fun sometimes at the workshops to remind us we're the sovereign of our energy fields. And what that means is that nobody can keep their energy in your space or take your energy and keep it unless it's hooking into something of yours. Now, we all have a lot to hook into, particularly if you're at all attracted to energetic NLP, you're probably all older souls. You know, I talk about later if we want, but so older souls come here to do a lot of stuff, and we have a lot of stuff. We've got karma and spiritual contracts and energetic programming and unconscious beliefs and past life stuff and ancestral stuff. So there's a lot to hook into, but it still has to hook into something of yours. In energetic NLP, we don't just try to clear those kind of energies out because they can come back or something similar can come back. We heal what it's hooked into, then clear it. So, and then there's more to it, but that's kind of the big picture of it. And set your intention, anybody who wants to, that while we're working today, that you're clearing, you're not going to get it all, ancestral programming and past life programming. The other thing that helps with ancestral programming that I've talked to a lot of people and I found really effective is to imagine you can talk to your ancestors and thank them for the programming, because it's all programming that they thought was important. And so I first thank them, and then I go, let me show you my world. And I just show them my world, rockets to the moon, everything, and like for women, like show them like, at least in the Western world, the role of women now is different, and I show them a lot, and then they kind of go, oh, and I go, so thank you for the programming, but it doesn't work in my world. Some of it does, and I'll keep that, but the rest of it, I don't live in your world. And it really loosens it up, because they're kind of like, oh, they get that they do not get this world, and it isn't their world. And you brought up stress, financial, from finances. Also a lot of punishment energy there. We'll start clearing that. And I'll say again to everybody, not unusual to have a lot of punishment energy. And the kind of cosmic joke is a lot of the nicest people in the world have a lot of punishment energy. The people that we think should have it,
right,
sometimes don't have that much of it. And there's, of course, perfectionism and super high standards, but that are being used in an oppressive way rather than as an inspiration. And as a recovering perfectionist, I can relate to that. And for everybody, let me say that again, because it's important. Having super high standards as something that's aspirational, like the old joke of the carrot in front of the donkey, that you're, I guess that's not a very good comparison, but pot of gold out there, I don't know. Is something that moves us forward is great. When we hold it as an oppressive standard that we're not meeting in the present and just beating ourselves up around it, that's not useful. I mean, sometimes, a little like, oop, I'm failing myself is fine, but it goes way beyond that. There we go. I don't know if you can feel it, things are loosening up.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, subtle, but there we go. Something about the financial stuff, though. You have some real strong anti-money programming. Are you aware of it?
Yes. That's probably a part of my Catholic upbringing.
Yeah.
Where spirit, if you were spiritual, you couldn't be abundant as well.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yes.
And it can come from a lot of sources, and Catholicism is one of them.
Mhm.
There we go. And is that what you consciously believe?
No, not at all. No, absolutely not.
So again, you can say hello to the whole Catholic thought form,
Mhm.
thank you for the intention behind that.
Mhm.
And that that's not what you believe or the way that you believe it.
Right.
Here we go.
Mhm.
And also, if this fits for you, it's one of the things that might have been, or we can say that maybe that's totally appropriate belief for a certain time period.
Mhm.
But we're in a time in the world where, as all of us increase our abundance, we no longer believe that the pie has to be small, that the pie can keep growing with us.
Right. Unlimited,
Yeah.
unlimited pie.
So for me, the more successful my business is, the more people I can hire to help me.
And the more people you can help, the more abundant you are, the more you can help. Yes.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
And also just being able to go, and I like not struggling all the time over money. That's a valid reason too. It's like, that's a lot of work. And
Mhm.
there's a line from the play Fiddler on the Roof where he's talking to God and he goes, there's no shame in being poor, but there's no great honor either.
Right. Absolutely.
But the old programming is like, oh, you're more spiritual. And
Mhm.
there we go. And again, not judging that as past, but we're saying that's not the world that we're trying to create.
Right.
There we go.
Mhm.
There we go. And for everybody, set your intention if you want to, that you want to, your miraculous self, to upgrade your beliefs about abundance, money, other forms of abundance, whatever is relevant to you. And I'm using the word upgrade. We can respect the way it was, but it's about going to a new level. How are you feeling now?
Oh, thank you so much. Grateful, so much, feeling so much lighter. And I think the energy of this group is really powerful also. I can very much feel it. And thank you so much, Art. I so resonate with this work, and I'm very grateful to you. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you for saying that. Much appreciated. What did I do? Sorry, I blinked out my screen by accident. And I'm going to just say a little bit more about, I'm going to talk about diamond bits and pieces, and then I'll be calling on people again. So the DIMA, the Discovery of Miraculous Abilities, it's 16th, 17th, 18th of July. It's a Saturday, Sunday, Monday. And it's at a time that can work for, certainly for people in Europe, North and South America, quite easily. And I always remind people, it'll, like if you're in the UK, it'll go to 10 at night or 11 in Paris, midnight in Kiev. But if you think of flying in and jet lag and expense and all of that, it can be worth a little disruption. But I love the DIMA program because there's a couple of things. So who is it for? It's both for people that are newbies to energy work, and we have people in the program that are very, very experienced with energy work and have done it many decades. And because everybody puts their miraculous self in charge of what happens for them, everybody is able to get whatever it is that's appropriate for them. And we work a lot on what's called whole being permission. And whole being permission is a concept from energetic NLP. And you know, the whole idea, like just visualize what you want. And if you're like me, like sometimes that works fantastically well. Sometimes it doesn't work at all. And one of the things that I noticed years ago in working with people is you're not operating out of one agenda. Your conscious mind is not the one agenda. There's also your unconscious mind. So a lot of you know that already, that you have to work with the conscious mind, your unconscious mind. But that's just the tip of the iceberg. Your spirit has an agenda for you. Your personal soul, which is different than your spirit, has an agenda for you. Your conscious mind, your unconscious mind, your body has its own agenda. So those are at least 5 agendas: your spirit, your soul, your conscious mind, your unconscious mind, and your body. And along with that, you live your life in a field of karma and in fields created by spiritual contracts. So in energetic NLP, the goal is to align your spirit, your soul, your conscious mind, your unconscious mind, your body, and to clear karma and change spiritual contracts to allow you to really manifest your heart's desires and move forward in life. So in DIMA, we'll be working on all of those different areas and aligning them. So we'll work on karma, work on spiritual contracts. And in energetic NLP, we have a unique way that we work with spiritual contracts and with karma, actually. And we'll be, again, working with unconscious blocks, limiting beliefs, conscious and unconscious, and ancestral programming, societal programming, familial programming, past life programming. And there'll be, Joe put in, it's 5 to 10 in the UK, the hours, 9 a.m. to 2 p.m. in California. But I can put all the hours in later. But there's a few reasons to come to DIMA. But let me talk about the reasons not to do it. So a reason not to do it, if you're not interested in your personal and spiritual development, if you're not interested in energy work at all, you wouldn't want to come. If you're not motivated to have a more miraculous life, there'd be no reason to come. And money could be a reason not to come, though I've extended the super early bird, and it's super inexpensive. It's $47 for 3 days. And if you want the upgrade, it's $97, which at some point I'll raise that. By the way, I've sold the same program for $1,900 in the past. So money is not the issue for most people. Time can be an issue, and you have to decide if it's worth it. But the bigger reasons not to do it is if you're going to let fear overcome you, because when you have the possibility of really making big changes in your life, really transforming things, it brings up fear, resistance, and programming, because a lot of the programming that we have tries to protect itself. Years ago, I've done a lot of work with like Fortune 100 companies and developing leaders and teams. And I'd flown to the East Coast to do this big program. I'd interviewed everybody on the team, And I hadn't thought of backing it up. I get there, my computer gets a virus and lose everything. And I had a virus checker, but this particular virus, it turned off your virus checker. And I had to have a grudging admiration. I thought, wow, that's kind of clever. And our programming has something similar. Our programming will try to protect itself. It will try to keep you from moving forward. It will create resistance. It'll create fear. It'll create sudden tiredness or irritation or all kinds of things. So those are all reasons not to do it. The reasons to do it is to live a more miraculous life, to have more confidence, and not confidence based just on affirmations where you're going, I'm confident. It's confidence because you will have opened up your energetic abilities a great deal. You'll have cleared a lot of blocks, opened up abilities. So you have confidence that's based on true empowerment. You'll have these skills and abilities. You will be able to work on yourself and other people energetically to transform your own and other people's lives. You'll be able to do that in person or wherever they are in the world, it's so much fun when you can do that, when you can help people, even when you're thousands of miles away. It's incredible. You will clear spiritual contracts. You'll create whole being permission. You'll have a lot of fun. You'll meet great people, and there's more benefits. But that's enough for now. So hopefully, I'm intriguing you at least. And by the way, even though it's not much of an investment, there's still a guarantee. And if you sign up, you do have to attend the first day, unless you tell me you can't. I mean, if you have to attend the first day if you want to get your money back. If you attend the first day and you attend all 3 days or just the one day and you don't like it or you don't think it helped you, you'll get a refund. I'll PayPal you the money. So I can't PayPal you back your time, but I think that you'll feel it was a really good investment of time. And I'll also just mention, I took a course recently on peak performance and flow states, because it's things that I want to add to energetic NLP. And I did not, and it was a real time-consuming program. But I made the time, even though I did not have the time. I made it. Mona said, my hair is standing on end and tingling all over. Your description of service to others is beautiful. I probably shouldn't share this, but I can't resist. My mother died 3 years ago. She was 98, had a hard life, but a good life. And we found these old letters that my father had written to her when he was in the Navy in World War II, from the Pacific. And there was, and you don't know your parents. I didn't know my dad as a young man in love. And one of the letters to my mom had really curly hair. And he goes, when I get home, I'm going to make your hair stand on end. And the whole family were reading this. And we just all got hysterical. Thinking, well, that's a side of my father I'd never heard before. So anyways, I don't know why I shared that, but I did. Okay, let's see. Let me come back. So far, I have been doing this pretty chronological. Again, I apologize in advance for all the names I'm going to mispronounce. Is it wrong? Am I saying wrong? Sorry, bad joke.
Hey, Art.
Hey.
How are you doing?
Good. How do you pronounce your name? Am I saying it correctly?
Just Ron. Yeah.
Okay, good.
You get it right.
So what's up?
So first, thanks for doing this. So I've been struggling with my health for like 4 months now. Severe fatigue and weakness and some neurological issues, and the doctor couldn't find out what's happening. Like no one knows what's happening. So I kind of want to seek some guidance.
Yeah, I'm glad you're bringing that up. And for anybody who has health issues, let me say my standard thing first, and you're already doing this. I'm like say, I was a medical researcher for years. If you have a medical issue, see a doctor. If you have a severe mental or emotional issue, see a psychiatrist, psychologist. Energetic NLP is intended to complement those things, not claiming we can replace it. Okay, now that I've said that, everybody take a deep breath, because there's a lot of people lighting up around health. And let me say wrong, sometimes I'm really good at diagnosing things, but just because I don't see something doesn't mean it's not there. You know, when I see something, I'm sure. When I don't see it, I'm not as sure. I don't think it's primarily medical, physical. And you'll keep checking on that. So let's look at. Do you do a lot of spiritual, energetic work, or
Little bit.
a little bit? Because some of your the whole energy of the world. I mean, there's a lot of energies coming in right now, and some are really beautiful and really powerful, and they're different. It's like, it's hard to describe. It's like dimensionally you're off. You're kind of 10% in one dimension, 10% in another dimension, and I mean, when I say another dimension, a whole other set of dimensions. You're kind of about 50% here, and the rest of you is off in all kinds of places, and some of that is good, but with your permission, I'll help you retune it so that you're better here.
Yes.
So, yeah.
Okay.
And for everybody, we're all vast beings, and we're existing in a lot of different realities and a lot of different dimensions, for want of a better word, planes. And sometimes we do that in a way that is sapping things from this time. You know, we've got either too much in other places, or we're not balancing it well. Yeah, let's and at least a lot of you are lighting up that you've got some of this, and a few of you are lighting up that you've got a lot of it. Remember some years back telling one of my colleagues, I went, I'm just so tired all the time. And he goes, well, most of you is off somewhere else doing something else. And he goes, I actually think that's okay if you're willing to put up with the tiredness for a while, but you know, you don't want to do that. Part of it wrong is there's programming in your space that doesn't value this reality that much. You know, and a lot of, again, it can be in religions and spiritual systems, like this is the profane world, and it's all about transcending this world. And a lot of people think, and I'm one of them, that we're now in a time where it's more about embodying more of our vast being in this reality, not escaping it. And so I'm working with your miraculous self. We'll see if we can update a lot of these beliefs to whatever your miraculous self wants them to be, not necessarily what I'm saying.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like say, like it's like you've been for a while out of focus in this reality, and we want to focus you back in. You don't have to 100% be here, but you're. There we go. Do you believe that life in this reality is important?
Yes.
Yeah. So just kind of remind yourself inside, like, yes.
Yes.
I mean, for everybody, my personal belief is, I don't know what we're doing here, but every time I tune in, I know that what we're doing is significant, it matters, it's important. I don't know why, you know, I can't see I can't understand the big picture, but I know that this reality is part of it. My friend John Friedlander, that we worked together, this was many years ago, he went, "You don't get it, Art." He goes, "Every stupid thing you have ever done has advanced humanity." And I cracked up, but I do think it's true. I think everything we've done, the great things, the stupid things, somehow it's part of some unfolding. And that unfolding here, I mean, I again, this is my belief, but I always get the same answer, that what we're doing here matters, but that it's just hard for us to comprehend how it all fits into some bigger picture. How are you feeling now? Your energy is looking a little better.
I feel a little bit lighter.
Yeah, let's see if we can get you a bit more in focus here. And for a lot of you, if you're aware that you have programming, and almost everybody does, that this reality is it's like you get through this reality so you can go somewhere else. Just give your miraculous permission to update those beliefs to whatever is right for you. How are you feeling now?
Better.
Yeah, the energy of keep working with you. I mean, it's a big thing that you're working on. It's good. It's just difficult. So I'm trying to help you make it easier. And let me just check. My read of you, if you can come to Daima, I think it would really help you a lot. So, you know, you may or may not be able to do that, but think about it, because it would really help.
Okay.
There's one other thing. When I go on to the next person, there's like some kind of message from your mother. Again, I don't know if it's past or present, but you know, you might meditate and just kind of ask what it is. And I think you'll find it helpful. And when I say from your mother, I don't know if she's alive, I don't know if it's conscious, but it's a message in your space that looks like it has value for you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much, Art.
My pleasure. Okay, everybody, take a couple easy deep breaths. I'll be calling in somebody in just a minute, but let's just really run energy for everybody. Keep coming back to smiling, being playful, using your imagination. And, you know, I put out in the thing that we would go like another half hour. I'll probably go about another hour, just so you all know. And you don't have to stay the whole time again. But I most likely will stay that long, so I'll get to a lot of you. Okay, Deb, if you would unmute. And hi.
I'm so impressed with you, and I think you're one of the kindest people in the world to do this work. I just got introduced to you the last session you did. You did call on me then. It was really informative. I had to sleep for 4 hours after that.
Yeah.
It's just so amazing to me. But I wanted to seek another opportunity here in terms of my intention is to manifest money and clients. I want to sign on 3 to 4 clients by the end of August in my coaching practice, and yet I still feel blocks, and I
Okay.
don't know completely what's keeping them there.
Okay. Well, thank you for your beautiful words. And for everybody who's feeling any blocks in their business, finance, this is perfect job. And I assume you're you're doing things on a practical level to help clients find you.
Not as much as I should be, and I'm going to be reworking everything this week because I had taken another program the other day on market outreach and retuning.
Right.
But I keep telling everybody, this is what I'm doing, and I am going. My package is like a $3,000 coaching practice over 13 weeks.
Mm. Okay.
So, but I just feel. I don't know.
Yeah.
And by the way, I just signed up for next week. So.
Oh, well, great. Well, yeah. Well, let's get it started now, though. Take a couple easy deep breaths. And this is lighting up a lot of people. So I'm getting to describe it this way. I don't know why, but it's almost like there's these two amoeba-like groups of energy in you. And one is the one part that sincerely wants the clients and knows you're, that you really can help people and that it's, they're getting value for the money and blah, blah, blah. But then there's this whole other energy that's kind of like, finds the whole money thing kind of yucky. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does, because my heart speaks to helping people that don't have the money or the opportunity for the coaching that I would do, which is the work-life harmony, job search, career.
Yeah.
And so I had originally placed the package at $1,500, but a lot of the coaches I've been working with, I've said, put it up. And to focus on that. And then once you make a lot of money, then you could work with people that need it. But I don't see why I can't do both. But yeah, that's very
You
interesting.
can do both. I mean, but you need to have the income coming in that.
Yeah.
So, if I don't have the income coming in from other things that I do, I can't do all these free programs, or I couldn't do Dyma for $47.
Right.
Because I'm actually hiring people to run the cameras and stuff. So, I mean, it's expensive. And so the money has to come from in order for me to do the free and the low cost things, I need to have money coming in. But if you had an imaginary meter from 0 to 100, what percentage of this kind of feeling like it's almost sort of yucky to charge that kind of money? And I'm not saying that what you should charge. I have no idea. But I know that this feeling that it's yucky isn't helpful. What percentage of that kind of yucky is your authentic energy? So if you imagine a meter.
Oh, okay. So I'm down to 60% yuck.
Great, 60% yuck. And of that yuck, though, what percentage of that yuck is actually your authentic energy from this lifetime?
I don't know.
Well,
I don't think it's really mine.
Yeah. So if you just imagine a meter, what does it say? Don't try to figure it out.
Okay. I'm going to say I get the number 10%.
Yeah, I'd even say lower, but yeah. It could even be 2%, but most of it's not yours. So with your permission, let's drain off the energy that it's either not yours or it's not from this lifetime.
Thank you.
And again, for you and for everybody, what people should charge for their services is a whole interesting topic. But this feeling that it's yucky to be making money isn't helpful. particularly when you're helping your clients make more money, that inconsistency, you can do your work with that inconsistency, but it's not helpful for them or for you. And say hello. This is past energy. Say hello to your father and his beliefs about money, and just let him drain off there. He's entitled to his beliefs, and of course, his beliefs were a lot of programming anyways from it that he got,
Yes, yes.
So they're not even his authentic beliefs, frankly. Here we go. How are you feeling right now?
Lighter. My heart has lit up more. It's lighter. It's not as tense as it was when we started.
Yeah.
Definitely.
And an exercise that could be helpful for you is, and you may not have that. So you help people with, you said, career and stuff, and
Yes.
And you probably won't have the accurate figures, but start writing down how much the clients that you help, what kind of money do they make because you help them? They make considerable money, right? From
Some of them, yeah.
Yeah.
It's a huge list because I haven't tapped into that market completely. And I've been hesitating about claiming what I want, whether or not I know what they are.
Well, what I'm saying though is for the ones that you can help, and nobody helps everybody, It's like when you go to the doctor, they're not guaranteed to help you, even the best doctor in the world may or may not be able to help you. But I think if you put some facts and figures down of the people that you help, how much money they make, and then being able to look at that and go, okay, what's a fair amount that I'm charging?
Oh, okay.
A friend of mine who's super brilliant guy, apparently, one of those unbelievable IQs, I was told by somebody else, but he's brilliant. And this was many years ago. He did a project for a company and they didn't know, it only took him half an hour, and I think they paid him $75,000, and it was a deal. But the money difference that they made or saved or whatever was enormous, it was a steal deal for him. So, it was worth every penny they paid him, and multiply it by 10 or 100, you know what I'm saying? So, so he felt like, well, for the value that they're getting, this is completely reasonable. They're not paying me for my time, paying me for my knowledge.
Yes.
So, on a practical level, being able to do that, and maybe you'll raise your prices, maybe you'll lower them, I don't know. But it will give you a foundation beyond just coaches saying you're not charging enough.
Excellent. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. Thank you.
And you always have the option in the future, if you feel like you really didn't come through for somebody, give them their money back. It's like,
No.
yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
You're very welcome. That lit up lots of people. Okay. Is it Morena? Am I saying it right?
Morena.
Morena. Hi, Morena.
Hi, Art. I'd like to work on what I think of as chronic anxiety, that my body is always on high alert, and it's very difficult for me to relax and calm down. And I believe that as a result, my blood pressure is quite high because my body is just always tense.
Sure. And I don't know if it's a virtual background or a real background, but behind you, there's a wooden thing on the wall that's jagged.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
it's so fun because my eye was drawn to that, and I heard that's kind of what your energy does. That
Really?
it's sort of that hyper alert. It bounces around.
Yes.
I don't know. I was just getting to say that, so I said it. Some of this, talk about ancestral. Some of this is like primitive ancestral. They talk about fight, flight, or freeze is like in case there's a saber-toothed tiger, kind of thing. So some of it, is that old of a programming, like being hyper alert. So let's give your miraculous self permission to start upgrading the beliefs and programming that causes hyper alertness. And part of that upgrade is, and one of the reasons for everybody to learn how to work with your miraculous self and your energy field is your miraculous self can let you know when there is authentic danger. You don't have to be on hyper alert all the time. That a part of you is always aware. And I remember many years ago when I was 20, I was hitchhiking around Europe, which for those of you that are younger was uber cool thing to do at that time. And I was in a park, and I had all my possessions in this pack, and I was using it as a pillow, and I was just taking a nap, and I was really soundly asleep. And all of a sudden, something in me, I didn't hear anything, but I don't know if you've ever had the experience of being soundly asleep and something in your mind goes, wake up. And I opened my eyes, and this guy is bent over, clearly going to try to take something out of my back. And I opened my eyes, I'm staring right in his eyes. And he like jumped, and left real quickly. But that was the first time that I realized, like, part of me, even though my conscious mind was completely, I was deep asleep, but part of me knew what was going on. And I've had things like that happen numerous times where, like, some part of me knew that I needed to be alert. And I'm not saying there isn't some kind of a place for conscious awareness and alertness, but take an easy, deep breath. And if this feels right to you, give your miraculous self permission to work with that whole alertness mechanism in you, and show it how, like, this can be easier. Like your spirit knows when there's actual danger of some kind. Does that make sense for you?
Yes, it makes big sense.
Yeah. So take, and be clear you're giving 100% permission, because that part of you, it's very young and has a lot of fear. So let me work with it too. When I'm showing it is, it will actually be safer. And in a nice way, like you were talking to a child, explain to that child part of you that this is raising your blood pressure, and it's making you unsafe. It wastes energy. It drains energy from other things you could be doing, so that it's actually making you unsafe. In a sweet way, explain to it, like, thank you, I know you're trying to help, but it's backfiring big time. And let it know it's okay that it didn't understand. We're just going to help it. And one of the things, so parts of our unconscious mind get caught into thinking that they're very young, that gets locked in at certain periods of our life. And, people used to talk about inner child work. It's more like inner children. And this part of you feels very young to me, like 2 or 3 years old. And I'm going to ask it a question, and let me know if an answer kind of comes up. It might be an image, a word, or a feeling. And it's okay if the answer is not what you want. So I want to ask that part, would it like to grow up so it can be safer? And then let me know what thought you get about it.
I get a definite yes.
Great. Now, and this is for everybody, when we grow up unconscious parts of us, they don't have to grow up like we did in our lives, because they're growing up in your mind. They can grow up the way you wanted to grow up, or if you grew up, had a nice childhood, even better. So what I'm going to propose is that your miraculous self and this young part and the parts of you that are nurturing, creative, and any part of your unconscious mind that can help, and your miraculous self can work with this young part of you and help her grow up. And she can be in charge of how old she wants to end up being. She might want to be your full age now. She might want to be 20, whatever she wants. And but that they're going to help her grow up wonderfully and help her grow up in such a way that she is connected to your miraculous self and knows when there's a threat and when there isn't. So she doesn't have to be hyper alert. And you still get a yes to that?
Yes, yes.
Okay. So just imagine now, give permission, set your intention for that process to start, and I'll help with that. She looks like, oh, thank God.
She's grown up. It was interesting. There were some hiccups along the way, but these other resources were there to help her get over the hiccups.
Oh, that's great. I'm laughing because I just went through a bout of hiccups for a few days. So it's funny you use that term. It's like, no more hiccups. Great. And when you think about alertness and hyper alertness now, just how is it occurring to you right now?
It's, I guess I would describe it as more distant.
Yeah, good.
It's out there, but it doesn't have to be in here.
Nice. Nice. So, the energy will keep working with you, and for everybody in a Coach-A-thon, we may or may not have done everything that's needed to be done, but that will significantly shift it for the better, at least, if not, beyond that.
Thank you, Art. I really appreciate it.
Oh, you're very welcome.
A long time.
Well, it was a great one to bring up. Again, it's the kind of thing a lot of people can relate to. Okay. And Rama, if you want to. Oh, no, I'm sorry, Teru. Let me do you first.
Hi, Art. I must say that when this first started, I just felt like crying, and it was really hard not to cry. And I found that in my own life lately, in the last, I don't know, 6 months to a year, I cry about everything. I mean, I cry at beautiful things. I cry at the birds outside. I've always been a helper all my life. And somehow I'm getting myself entangled in things instead of moving myself forward, because I'm going to be 80 in October. And I still want to use my NLP work, where I met you, to help women age better.
Oh, fantastic.
And I can't quite get it together. Something always comes up. Right now, my hypothyroidism is back and I'm exhausted. I can barely sit in this chair. I'd like to be sleeping somewhere, but I really wanted to be here. And you just talked to one of my best friends. Oh. And I'm really grateful you did.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's the exhaustion, and there's in the hypothyroidism, and the putting your work out there to help women with aging, right?
Mm-hmm. I don't know if I'm supposed to do that or not, or if I'm just not supposed to.
Oh, I don't get that there's a not supposed to there. I don't think.
Oh, yay.
Do you remember from NLP land, was it Tom Best? There was an NLP trainer that was even a little before me talking about spirituality and stuff. Not
No.
Tom Best. Oh, anyways, he was giving this presentation at NLP conference and talking about spirituality. And he goes, how do you know when you're on your path? And all these people are going, everything flows, everything's easy, blah, blah, blah. And then I raised my hand and I went, well, often that's true, but sometimes I know I'm on my path because all these obstacles come up, all these things try to derail me. And sometimes that's all the resistance is coming up because I am exactly trying to be on my path. And he agreed with me. So I don't think that these problems are a sign that you shouldn't be doing it. And you don't think that yet either, right?
I'm hoping I'm not thinking that, but yeah.
You're coming up with that as a logical explanation, but does that actually feel true to you? Or is that just mixed?
No, not at all. Actually, it's logical. It's a stupid mind, messing with me again.
Oh, well, that's not. I do not denigrate the stupid logical mind. It does what it's supposed to do. And but
I just wish it would calm down.
well, yeah, well, you could apologize to it. I'm serious.
Okay.
It's not stupid. It's just trying to figure everything out analytically, which is great where that works. If you're doing your taxes, go for it. And a lot of other things. But oh, thanks. No, it wasn't Robert McDonald. Actually, Robert McDonald and I were in we're in the same NLP practitioner program way back in '84, I think. So take a couple easy deep breaths. Yeah, so I don't, and for everybody, often we come up with these explanations, well, maybe I'm not supposed to do it. Like, I've had people sometimes go, well, I was going to go to your workshop, but these things got in the way. So I took it as a sign that I wasn't supposed to do it. And I usually go, well, it could be a sign of that, or it could be a sign that your resistance is up, because that's what's going to change your life. I mean, before my first NLP class, the day before, I probably actually broke a couple of bumps in my foot. I really twisted my ankle, and getting to the program was buses and taxis, and it was. I had all the excuses in the world to not do it. So for everybody, just because things get in the way, you need to meditate on it, because it could be a sign that you of not doing it, but often it's a sign that it's exactly what you should do, and all the resistance is popping up. So one of the things that's coming up is there is a part of you that is a bit tired and would just like to kick back. So
Yes.
it's not an either or, so you can do work with women around aging. Doesn't mean it needs to be 40 hours a week or even 20 hours a week. No, definitely not Tad James. It's not who I was talking about. And definitely not Steve Andreas. I learned a lot from Steve Andreas, but not about spirituality. Tons of his NLP work was phenomenal, and a good man. So take an easy deep breath. So I think part of what necessary is you need to decide like how much free or kickback time or whatever you want, and how much time you're willing to put into work, and that you could really be happy with. Suzanne said Steve was awesome. Oh yeah. Well, I'm still working with you energetically, but so Steve and Connie Ray Andreas were major developers in NLP and great people. And Steve died in the last couple of years, but Connie Ray is still very much doing great work. But I was staying at their house once, and Connie Ray wasn't feeling good, and I was doing some hands-on healing work with her. And Steve's looking at me and goes, "You're staying at my house. I gave you a car to use. Now your hands are on my wife." I mean, he was kidding, but it wasn't right. We all cracked up. But Steve was major force in NLP and helped tons of people. And Connie Ray, I mean, incredible. Easy deep breaths. Do you think you could do that and make a commitment that you're only going to work so many hours,
Yeah.
for a week or days a month or some kind of thing? Is that something you can do?
Well, it's something, yeah, actually that I have to do based on my energy level. I can't really go against it. I've tried.
Yeah, but is it true that there's a part of you that wants some more free time?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
don't make it about your health. I mean, I'm not at this moment. At this moment, it's about creating at this next phase of your life, a life that you're happy with, that you have, that you don't feel pressured all the time, and you have whatever amount of free time you want, and you're doing this very meaningful work. And just, you don't have to do it right now, but make a commitment that you'll map it out and you'll keep to it. Not necessarily every, there'll be times it might go up or down, but you'll basically, because the part of you that wants the relaxation and the healing and the free time will keep fighting the part of you that wants to do this work unless they make a deal. And you're 80. It is, I'm not that far behind you, of course. Make an agreement with yourself that what you're developing is going to fit those kind of standards, and get clear that you could have a very successful business and help a ton of people. Doesn't mean it has to take an enormous amount of time.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're and you don't have to do it, but are you willing to do it?
Oh yeah, I am. I started doing it. And then I started having these like 10 out of 13 symptoms back, and it's thrown me for a loop because it's
I
just
know, but
doing a lot of
for
things.
right now, put that aside, because it's like we don't want your health to be hostage to this situation. So right now there's a lot of secondary gain and you're not feeling well.
Interesting.
And the secondary gain is you don't have to do all this work. So yeah,
Okay.
that's why I'm saying make a deal with yourself. And and there may be occasional weeks where you work, but in terms of a general thing, this is how much I'm going to work, this is how much I'm not going to work, and I'm going to do these other things and relax and take care of myself, or or whatever it is you want to do. And can you feel now you're starting to get it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I'll even write it down.
Oh, you should write it down. And I mean, like a contract.
That's exactly my word in my head was I'm making a contract.
Yeah.
I used to do grant and contract administration years ago, so I know how to write a good contract. Let me tell
There you go. You write a contract, and that'll help a lot. And then there are beliefs in your space about aging that would be really good to clear. We can do some of them now.
Yes.
I mean, my mom, when she was 84, and my mom, I used to look like I worked out all the time, but I didn't. And my mom actually, somewhere I don't know, in her 40s, started going to the exercises classes every week, and then the senior center. I mean, up until almost when she was 98, she was still going to exercise classes at the senior center. She wasn't doing a lot, but she was still going and moving. And when she was 84, she lets us know she's going to go on a trip to Costa Rica where you have to walk 4 miles a day, and they're going to do whitewater rafting and stuff. My brother and sister-in-law were really worried about it. And I talked to my mom and went, well, you know, they're worried because you have to walk 4 miles a day. And she goes, I do walk 4 miles every day. I went, and she told me she went whitewater rafting. I thought, you know, they threw in a little stream, you know. And she sent me this picture. I mean, it's real waves, and she got a little helmet. I mean, it was like really whitewater rafting. And I called her, I went, you went whitewater rafting? And she goes, well, I told you. And I went, yeah, but I thought it was like it was a moving stream. I didn't realize it. I mean, it wasn't class 5, but it was real, you know. But my mother wasn't like some kind of athlete or anything. All I'm saying is she helped me with my beliefs about aging, that like, yeah, you can do pretty well. So give Miraculous permission to use the energy to start updating your beliefs about aging, and definitely make a commitment. Don't make your health the hostage here. You make decisions about the life you're creating, but don't force yourself to rest more because of your health. Is that helpful?
Yes, and it's interesting you say beliefs about aging, because the main tenet of what I'm going to do is the limiting beliefs women have about aging.
That'd be great.
And changing them and finding resourceful states and giving them some of the simple NLP techniques to use for themselves, in addition to how to use cannabis well. So
Fantastic.
Yep.
That's legal here. So.
It's very legal in New Mexico. Everything's legal in New Mexico. It's a good state.
Thanks for bringing those up, and the energy will keep working with you. But you look better, but do the contract. I think that's really important.
I'm going to do that. Yeah. And I'm afraid I do have to leave now. I have another engagement. I'm so pleased that you were able to talk to me. Thank you so much.
Oh, thanks for being here.
Thank you, Art. Yeah.
Welcome. And yeah, we'll call on Rama. And I may go a little faster, but I will still do good work, people. Yeah, Rama, go ahead.
Hi, Art. Thank you so much. And after the Playful Empath program, during that time, I thought I had a good handle of the M. So I was able to feel it, and I could see that it was working. But I continued to use all that I learned, all these days. But somewhere I kind of got lost about it, and it became kind of blurry. And whenever I tried to do it, it was kind of overwhelming, and I could not get a handle actually. So, but now after listening to you for the last 1.5 hours, it's kind of getting clear and feeling light. But I really don't know what happened.
Well, I'll look at it specifically, but that's not unusual. I have a year-long program called the M Club, and one of the reasons it's a year-long program is that we all need a lot of support. You know, it's like we do really well with something, then we slip back, and we do well. And, and that's. I mean, if you think in the past, most people learn spirituality in communities, so they were getting ongoing support. So take a moment and just. I mean, I'll look at specifics for you, but, kind of be nice to yourself and go, oh, well, it's normal to have that up and down. And Rama was I did a 5-day program recently that it was another free program for working on empathic skills and problems with empathy and energetically and stuff, and how to become a more playful empath. And so we learned a lot there. And are you able to come to Daima? I know the hours are weird for you.
Yes, I already did that. I mean, I registered.
Right.
The day one, yeah.
But that'll help a lot too, to keep wiring it in. But just the fact that, that you backslid a bit is normal. Not everybody does it, but most people do. So let me look here. You keep reminding yourself to be playful about it. Even you're doing a pretty good job on that. When you backslide or when it's not working as well, it's more of a trick to be playful about that. You kind of go, oh, okay, rather than what most of us do is we go, oh, we see it as some kind of problem or failure or whatever. Just seeing it as kind of like, okay, well, what's going on? What do I need to do? All right. And just somebody, Paula put in that she has COVID. I'll help you with that. I'm sorry to hear it. All right, Rama, there's also ancestral programming getting in the way. And so, saying hi to your ancestors, thanking them and showing them your modern world, and also just letting them know that, that you come from a long tradition, I come from a long tradition, different traditions. And sometimes I have to remind my ancestors, like, you guys changed things over the last few thousand years. So it's like, it's like our ancestors act like it's always been this way. It's like, no, religions have changed, Okay. Are you married?
Yes, sir. I am.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's your wife's energy. It's not in the way, but sometimes our partners, your spouses or partners, when we're changing on an inner level, it can bring up a little fear because, like, she likes you the way you are, kind of thing. What does it mean? And if things change. So in your mind, just kind of talk to her and let her know that the changes you're making are good for her, good for you, good for the family.
Yeah, there is some problem actually. So that's where I can sense what you are saying, and
Yeah.
that's actually, that change is not coping really well with her, and then there is a difference of opinions. Yeah.
And it's very common in a couple that that one of them will be really into changing, and the other one has more fear around it, and and that's common. So in your mind, just being compassionate for her, and just there's something called being to being meditations where you talk, if you can have the conversation verbally, that's fine too, of course, but just in your mind meditating and just keep reassuring her and letting her know this is going to help things. And let me connect with her too. And I'm not getting what the details are, but I think there's some things she's kind of frustrated about that you could improve.
Yeah.
So
that's right. Yeah.
But all of this work, I think, will help you with that. Because there's some things that you can loosen up about. Loosen up in terms of your thinking,
Okay.
That makes sense?
Definitely. Yeah.
Yeah, and you're looking at part of it. Yeah, okay. Oh, now you're looking at more of it. Yeah, it's like imagining your vision getting wider. Oh, now, yeah, now you're really getting it. I'm not sure if it's conscious or unconscious, but now you're looking at it. Because even those of us who are into change, we have our structures in our mind that we don't notice that are rigid. Okay. So I'll keep working with you. How are you feeling right now?
Much better.
Yeah, and I'm going to call the next person, but I'll keep working with you too.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
My pleasure. Always great to see you.
Yeah. Thank you.
And Amy, if you would unmute.
Hello?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Hi.
Hey.
Perfect.
Thank you very much for calling on me. It's so weird. I knew you were calling on me next. For me, it's not really a specific, because what I've realized with where I am in my growth is it's all related. It's like, and I have this cycle of, I'm afraid, it's like if I talk about it with money, say I'm afraid to say pay things sometimes because I'm afraid I won't get it back in. If it's a relationship, I'm afraid to like let go of the thing I know isn't right because I'm afraid what's right won't come. And I compare it to like breathing. I'm afraid to fully breathe out because I won't be able to breathe back in. And even physically, I hold my breath. That's one of my main trauma things.
Boy, that really lights up. Yeah.
Okay.
By the way, that's a great one for everybody, that the fear that, if we, put things out that, what the loss will be, or will they come back, or I'm not saying it well, but you know what you meant. There's a big past life, and there's literal stuff about breathing. I mean, I don't think you died, but you were suffocated. And I think you thought you were going to die. So I'm sending a healing back to that past life. Part of the healing is just going, you don't die, which always helps the situation. Like, okay, I survived this. And I think also in that lifetime, you were really punished for wanting and receiving, so part of you is still resentful, like doesn't want to put things out there because that was all you were allowed. So let's heal that up. And of course, that's not this lifetime. So let's drain off those energies that don't belong here. So we're sending a healing to that lifetime, but they're not useful energies in this lifetime. I'm not sure if you're conscious of this, but the whole idea about why there is suffering in the world is, at least on an unconscious level, something that you're really wrestling with.
Yeah, it's very conscious. It's very sad to me because I can see how unnecessary it is because we all want the same thing.
Yeah, and the thing is, the belief that it's unnecessary is just a belief. Again, that gets into resistance to what is.
Right.
So we live in this reality where suffering is part of it. And I don't think we need to, part of that's because we glorify suffering often. And, but some of it, again, we're in bodies, and it's like, I don't know if you ever watch nature programs.
Right. Yeah.
It's kind of like, you're watching one, like I like lions. And like if I forget what they call it, a little family of lions, but if the male dies, a new male will join them. And if there are any cubs, he kills them.
I saw that actually. Yeah.
It's just kind of like, ooh. But I mean, it's kind of, so I can sit there and judge that as bad, or I can kind of go, okay, somehow certain things are part of the nature of this reality, or oh, the cute little thing is sitting there and something goes, it's kind of, so luckily, a pride of lions. Yeah. Thank you, John. Luckily, there's all kinds of things that we don't have to live that way. And as human beings, we can evolve and beyond a lot of that. But when we make suffering bad or wrong, that's not helping either. And what I would suggest, and this isn't a one-shot deal, ask your miraculous self to keep giving you downloads that would bypass your conscious mind at first on coming to peace with the fact that there is suffering and cruelty in this world.
Yeah.
Even as we work to lessen it. So I'm not saying, oh, accept it, like, yeah, people are starving, like, well, that's just the way it is. I mean, it is the way it is. That doesn't mean we don't want to do something about it.
Well, and I guess I think of it more as not the like inevitable stuff like you talked about with like what I think you said the Dalai Lama said. There's the suffering of being human and the inevitable stuff. It's more the like yeah, it's just the extra stuff that's on top of it. So
Right. It's something
the
that
cruelty, because
Yeah.
animals aren't being cruel. They're doing what you do. We're just very cruel.
well, we're also very kind and beautiful.
Mhm.
You know.
Mhm.
But what I'm saying is,
Yeah.
and again, you have to come to your own answers to it. And for me, du jour at least, is the idea that somehow that's part of the nature of this reality that we created, and that somehow that's part of our spiritual path. And again, we're a group of people that want to lessen all that and move humanity forward to something different. But cruelty and fear and bigotry and all of these things do exist. And there's people who are really good at turning like extreme bigots around and stuff. And they usually start with a level of acceptance of the person the way they are, and then they just kind of work with them. I mean, people do amazing work that way. And but they don't start with a place. It's a little bit like the Gandhi story. It's like, so like I'm Jewish. I can understand somebody being anti-Semitic. They hear a lot of lies, they hear stories, they have fears. They don't understand. I get that. Doesn't mean I put up with it. It doesn't mean I don't want to change it. But I understand that. I often think of it, just because the fur fell off doesn't mean we're all that advanced. So again, I mean, but whatever you come to with all of this, you're exploring that will make a big difference.
Okay.
And all of us, again, we don't have to come to peace with this reality in the sense that we don't do anything about it, but being at peace with it in the sense that we do it from this empowered space. It's like somebody like Mother Teresa, as far as I know, wasn't saying there shouldn't be poor, starving people. She was just doing what she could to help.
Right.
Right.
Okay.
With your permission, we can help dissolve some of the old beliefs and just not to replace them with what I was saying, but let your miraculous self replace them.
Okay. Yep.
And then there's a couple of other things real quick here. I'll just work with them energetically. And again, this is a challenge for most of us, is being able to keep our heart open to the love and the beauty that's in the world, in spite of all that.
Yeah.
Which is, of course, a huge challenge. Because right now, you're doing what a lot of us do, is we close down our heart to protect ourselves from all the.
Well, and mine is related to personal early childhood trauma that was very traumatic. So, you know what I mean? There is personal that goes along with it. So.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Oh, yeah. I'm sorry.
Thing.
I didn't mean to be.
Oh, no, I'm saying the heart thing is specifically something I felt that's related to that.
Yeah. And energetic, if you can come to Diamond, you can do a lot of clearing in this, and I'm helping you with it now. But one of the goals in energetic NLP is to let go of our past, creating our present and future. To create our present from the future and the present, not from the past.
Okay.
And yeah, and so yeah, you're loosening up a bit around your heart, and we don't need to rush it, but we're just kind of loosening it up. Because what happens, and this is for everybody, is traumatic things happen, and we shut down our heart, and part of our unconscious mind is afraid to open it because it's like, I know what's out there, kind of thing.
Absolutely.
But that's not what's out there. I mean, you're not in that same childhood situation. So, but the fear is that that's what's going to be there. So we're just very gently just starting to loosen it, clear it. Well, that's getting you started. How are you feeling right now?
I can feel a little something. It almost feels like I can feel it like a little softening with the training.
Yeah, we're just taking it gently.
Mm-hmm.
I'll keep
Yeah.
working with you.
And the gentle makes sense makes a lot of sense. It needs to be that way.
Yeah, and for everybody, I used to always want to do it right now and max it all out, and then, finally somebody pointed out to me that was kind of, in a way, not valuing ourselves. It's like, you're worth taking the time. It doesn't have to be instant. That you would give other people time. There you go. It's softening even more. And like I say, if you can come to Daima, you'll clear a lot of this. But you're doing what we're doing now is significant, but there's more to do, of course. Well, thank you for bringing that up, because that lit up lots of people.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much for doing this. I appreciate it.
My pleasure. And Renee.
Hi, Art. Can you hear me?
Perfect.
Well, thank you for everything. This has been so amazing. Mine is grief. My mom passed in the end of May, and I just feel wounded. I know that's a strong word to say, but I just feel wounded.
No, it's an appropriate word. I'm tuning into your mom. Did she have like a really beautiful energy?
Yes.
Yeah. It's like I can feel it, like, ooh, just like she shined. And I'm getting to tell you that my sense from her, like she's kind of going, I'm fine. She's doing whatever's next for her. And because sometimes after people pass, they don't look fine, and but your mom looks like she's just in a good place.
Okay.
But in terms of your wounding, that's right. I'll tell you what I'm getting is the first thing, embrace the feeling wounded. It's like, there's nothing wrong with feeling, it's not pleasant, but there's nothing wrong with feeling wounded after your mother died. She's your mother, you loved her. And it's not something that needs to be fixed. And the more you just embrace it and are able to go, that's the way I'm feeling right now. So that will really help. The other thing is, wounded, of course, is an interesting word. And so, feeling a sense of loss, this is different than feeling wounded.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Yeah. So let's look at what pushes it into the wounded. And for everybody, wounded implies, again, like an attack or something was done to me. And where loss is more, I miss this person. There's a hole in my life that, it won't be there forever, but there's a hole right now. Yeah, that lit up a lot of stuff in you and in other people.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. I'm going to share this story because my guidance is telling me to share it. So my father died when I was 15, and I was really close to my father. I was really, really lucky that way. And, of course, it was a huge loss and everything. And I hadn't been taught this kind of spiritual belief really at the time. But I remember at some point realizing that now consciously he wasn't done with life, but I just got the message on his spirit. He was done, and he wanted him to move on to something else. And that somehow for my mother and my brother and I, it was part of our paths that he leave then. So even though we were all really sad about it, and grief stricken, that somehow it was right, on some other level. And again, consciously he wouldn't have said he was ready to go, but I just got really clearly his spirit was saying, no, it's time. And for the rest of us, it was time for our paths. So I get the sense with your mother, it was the right time for her and for your family and for you. And it doesn't feel that way, but somehow at least entertaining that possibility will help it be more of loss rather than wound. That, yeah, you get it.
I see what you're saying. Yeah.
By the way, I've been enjoying you the whole time because you react to things really wonderfully.
Yeah.
Great gift.
But that feels much better with the way you said it. Yeah. Oh, wow. Thank you.
Yeah. And again, so just embrace the feeling of loss, and everybody will try to fix your grief, and you just have to realize they're trying to help, but it's like, it's okay to feel grief. Yeah. I mean, there's parts of the world where they really, kind of revel in it, because they realize it's appropriate. And then at some point, it changes to a sweetness, and
I like that. Okay.
And the other thing is your mother is still very present, so you can still connect with her. It's not the same, but it's still great. And I'm getting, she's still there to guide you. If there's times you want guidance, you can just kind of pray and go, okay, Mom, help me here. And you may or may not get a clear message, but just keep giving her permission to help you. Because I think she's pretty powerful. I don't know what she was like in life, but she's powerful.
Yes. people say that I'm, the splitting image. I'm the one that's taking the torch forward. And
yeah, I can say that. Yeah. You're the apple that didn't fall far from the tree, right?
Yes. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. And sorry about your mother. And yeah. You
Thank you.
have a lot of interesting things ahead of you.
Oh, thank you. I'll be there next weekend. I signed up.
Yeah, great. Okay, let's Melissa, hi.
Hi, great to see you.
Yes, I can't see you, but great to hear you.
Yeah. Yeah, I have a little problem with my camera right
now.
No,
it's fine. It's fine.
Okay. Fine. Okay. So, I'm wondering if I might get a little help on the area of relationship, well, specifically romantic relationship.
Oh.
Yeah, I haven't been able for the past like 2-3 years, I haven't been able to resolve and heal and properly integrate my past relationship. And also I would like a little help to come into the lifelong partnership that I want, and to do it in time to have my own, biological children, because that's always been one of my deepest desires. And anyway, what's been playing out is the crappy chronic pattern that continues to run. And wow, like I just haven't been able to break through that. So I thought, well, let me see if I can get some help from Art.
Oh, well, great. That's a great thing to work. I'm sorry to hear it, and it's a great thing to work on.
Yeah. Thank you.
Overall, by the way, your energy looks significantly better overall.
It does it? Oh my gosh, that's encouraging to hear. Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, it looks like just the number of things are better in your life, not this one, but you can disagree with me if you want, but yeah, it looks, you're looking more solid. So let's look at relationships. And of course, there's lots of people, relationships are up. this is what I was expecting to be saying. I think I'd put this into words. So you're not letting the right men be attracted to you. And it's because, I mean, there's several reasons, but the one I'm really focused on is you're not getting who you are, so that the right men aren't seeing you. I know Melissa, by the way, from programs. You know, you're an amazing person, and you're not, you know, even when I say that now, you kind of shrivel from it. It's okay to recognize, I mean, you're not perfect and you got your stuff and blah, 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 you know, but you're an amazing person, you have amazing abilities. And that I'm trying to clear the things that won't let you say hi to that, to recognize that. So what sort of happens is you're not showing up on the radar of the men that you want because you're denying who and what you are.
I see. So part like on an identity level type thing. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
And start with and if you have trouble recognizing this, connect with some of the other M clubbers and have them give you feedback on this. But you're an amazing spiritual being. And start with recognizing that you're this amazing spiritual being, and you're not here to be with just any guy. You know?
Right.
You want to be with a guy that can really appreciate that, you know, whether he'd say it that way, but who on an inner level gets it and will nurture that.
Yeah.
And, you know, and getting, you can be an amazing spiritual being, doesn't mean you have your act together in all ways, you know. But start with that going like, you have this amazing energy, you're an amazing being, and that you're letting that go out there where the right men can get it on an inner level.
Yeah.
Can you feel you're starting to do that right now, just a little bit? And you could try that pattern we said before, is like, gosh, how did I get to be such an amazing spiritual being? Kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And it's amazing how that the right men are noticing that.
Yeah. 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 I think you hit it on the head, because all the men that come into my life, it's all like just very partial, you know, like these are let's say my wants and needs as a human being.
Yeah.
Like only a couple of those are met, but things that aren't met involve like some of these things that you're talking about, and other things that are like really central and solid and necessary. Right. But it's bizarre that literally in my life, like none of the right men have ever like appeared. And I only have from this other pool and it's like, oh, what is going on with that?
Yeah, and it's like you're not letting the right men see the kind of goddess in you. I kept censoring the word, but the kind of the goddess, you know. You know, and the gods and goddesses weren't perfect, you know, but they still were gods and goddesses. So having more fun with that. And one of my cousins who, I mean, he's not a bad looking guy, but he's not, you know, you wouldn't pick him out in a crowd. And I remember years ago, my mother going, I'll change his name. She goes, you know, your cousin Dan, it's amazing. He always has these great girlfriends, and she couldn't quite figure it out. And one of the things we talked about, he actually started learning a little bit of NLP before I did, that we hadn't talked about it. And Richard Bandler, somebody was talking about, just pretend that you have animal magnetism for no logical reason. Just you really attract the people you want to attract. And he goes, so I started pretending that, and it worked.
I remember this story. Maybe I can do like royalty, goddess or something.
Yeah, but just, imagining that, like, for whatever reasons have nothing to do with logic, that the right guys pick up on it. Because they can, if if you'll give them permission to see.
Yeah, and I definitely want to let those right guys and I do permission. I'm not,
but you weren't showing on the inner, you weren't letting them see on the inner level how amazing you are. And again, it isn't necessarily, they may not even consciously get it, but they'll get it on some whole other level.
Yeah.
And let me work on a few other things with you on it. Totally understandable. But you're not letting it be fun. And that was part of the whole, like, for some unknown reason, I have this animal magnetism, kind of thing, is he had fun with it,
Yeah, the fun part is hard. I feel lots of things that take that, like, make the fun part a little bit unavailable. I struggle with that.
Well, it's understandable, and we all know men, a lot of men are jerks.
Yeah.
But again, the idea is you're putting this out to the right men,
Yeah.
And easy deep breaths. I'll keep working with you, but how are you feeling?
Well, physically I'm feeling the same, but internally I feel a little more encouraged, and I feel a little bit of like lightness, but in the sense of like maybe like a little tingle of excitement, I guess is the lightness that I'm touching on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just set your intention that your miraculous self will help you keep growing that.
Yeah.
And give your miraculous self permission to broadcast the signal out to the right people.
Got it. Yeah.
There's a saying in marketing that good marketing attracts your target audience and repels the people that aren't right.
That's what I want. Yes.
Yeah. So keep giving your M permission to, like, send out the signal to the right people. And the other thing is, with meeting people, they have to be, there's timing and availability too. So as you're making the switch, it could happen instantly, or there could be a delay, but just keep working on it.
Okay.
You know what I mean? It's like it's sort of like when people are house hunting, the house you want may not be on sale yet.
Yeah, right. I see.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I'm going to, so I'll keep working with you. I'm going to call on one more person, then I'm going to have to leave too. And I apologize to those of you I didn't. And remember, the energy is working with everybody. So Kathy, you want to unmute? Kathy Frank.
Hi. Yeah, I was really hoping you'd call on me, and at the same time, I'm struggling to define what I want to focus on. And what keeps coming up is I'm a yoga teacher, and my mother and father started estranging right at the start of the pandemic, right after I did your meditation on releasing the negative energy of your mother, the negative programming. So I guess I needed to go because it was almost like I felt this shift in me where my soul was saying, yeah, this burden is really burdensome to carry this relationship with my mother. But it was like I really connected deeply in that meditation. And the very next time I was on the phone with her, she started being mean and nasty and kicking me out of her life. And I don't know if that's really connected.
Could be.
But I just feel out of the flow. Like I have this yoga business and the pandemic kind of did a number on it, but I'm just having a hard time getting back into the flow, and I'm attracting new students, but they're all coming to me with so many problems. It's like they're all gung-ho, like they want to do it, but then they quit because it's too hard. And I have another clientele that is more regulars, that's a small group who can do the yoga I teach. And so I can't really make it any easier without going to chair yoga. Like I'm already making it pretty easy. So I don't know, I'm feeling kind of lost in the middle of all of this. Like I should be earning more money. I should be attracting more of what.
Yeah, so let me look at
it.
You've already lit up lots of stuff. So
Okay.
Let me look at it. Well, I keep hearing the word change. And what I'm getting is do some rethinking of your yoga practice. Not, I don't say going to chair, but thinking about, correct me if I'm wrong, but it feels like you kind of set it up the way you were sort of taught to do it, but there's some changes you would make if you really made it what you wanted it to be. And give a little thought, like, the old, if you could wave a magic wand, what would it be like? And then see how close you can get to that. Because it feels like you're trying to kind of force yourself to, the popular word is pivot, to make some changes around the way you do it. Because I think you're following too much the way you were taught. I don't mean the yoga practices, but the whole approach to it. And that, is this making sense? Do you know what I mean? That like if you reinvented it a bit, like what would make
kind of, yeah, because I taught a class a few days ago. I kind of went out of the mold a little, and it was really well received.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like when I was first teaching energy work, I would very much follow what I'd been taught for a lot of things. And then I thought, oh, wait a minute, is that really the way I want to do it, or that I think is the best way to do it? And then I just started changing things, preserving what was important, but thinking, well, what would be a more enjoyable way to do it, and what would be a more interesting way, or what would be more effective, So when you're talking about going out of the mold, that class, I'm getting, yes, that's what they're talking about.
Yeah.
And looking and giving yourself more and more permission to do that, particularly the fact that it was well received, I think was giving you a big indication that that's the way to go.
Yeah.
So let me just work with your energy on this. And part of what will make that better, if your attitude is, if you see that as an opportunity, not as a task. I mean, think of all the people who had jobs for all, for all these years, or before there were jobs, that didn't have the freedom to try to reinvent their work around what they really wanted to do, what they really thought was important. We live in this amazing time when there's so much freedom to do that. And I know for myself, when I start making that a task, and it goes on my to-do list, but when I go like, oh my God, I have this, I've had real jobs. It's like, I haven't had a real job since 1985. I love it. It's like, and when I teach, I can teach things exactly the way I think they should be taught. It's like, how cool is that?
Yeah.
And it's not that I'm not open to feedback. I am, but it's like, you know, you're starting to get it. So really let this be a fun opportunity to redo things in a way, and imagine that, 6 months from now, you're going, this is so much better than my old yoga business. I'm having more fun. They love it more, benefiting more people. And you might even think with the ones with the bigger problems, how do you set it up for them that they feel more encouragement and wins along the way, so that they're, because if they're looking to get all the way to their physical problem solved, then they get discouraged. But giving them evidence of progress and stuff.
Yeah.
So I just think that there's a lot you can do, and brainstorm with other yoga teachers and stuff. But I think you can. I just keep getting change and reinvent it the way you like it, and you'll then start attracting people who really, really like it.
Yeah.
They may not know yet, but
maybe I'm stuck in a rut.
Well, the more I allowed energetic NLP to reflect my beliefs, and so when I started making it more fun, because the people who taught me energy work, that wasn't on their list to make it more fun and make it more natural and stuff. But that's how I wanted it to be. And the more I gave myself permission to change the framing and everything about how I did things and change the techniques, the more I enjoyed it, and the more the right people wanted to work with me.
Yeah.
And the people
That's
who want,
interesting.
And I'll tell people, if you want really strict, serious, energy work with clear-cut black and white answers, that's fine. That's not what you're going to get from me. We're going to have fun and be playful and embrace mysteries.
Yeah. It's funny you mentioned the to-do list, because somewhere in there where I was feeling out of my flow, like unable to tap my flow states, I started making a list to, as a way to get myself through my days. And I don't know, but the list, I don't know, maybe I'm doing my yoga classes that way. Maybe I have too much of a laundry list.
Well, it's the to-do list can really help flow state. It's just, so like I catch myself, if I start looking at my to-do list, like all these things I need to do, and catch myself and go, oh, I get to do this, and I get to do this, and this leads to what I want. And so I don't enjoy all the marketing and webpage stuff that's involved with, getting people to show up to a program like this. But I really enjoy this. So when I'm doing that, it's in service of what I want, So I can either make it my to-do list is like a drudgery, or I can make it my freedom list, that this is what gives me the ability to do what I want to do.
Yeah. I need to get out and put up some flyers and stuff too, I think.
Yeah. Well, there's a lot of practical things, but really catching yourself and making that to-do list an opportunity list, or something that where, and I'm for everybody, when I can get into like thinking of it as all work, I mean, even when I was younger, it was never this easy to have your own business, or create what you wanted and do things online in person. The opportunities now are amazing, but they need for us to be willing to change things, and it can be overwhelming if we make it all to-do tasks rather than opportunities. So I'll leave you with that to think about. I'm going to have to end.
Okay, thank you, Art.
Just a quick thing. You're very welcome, with everybody's energy. So let's just do some real nice clearing for everybody real fast. If you're doing anything after this that requires safety, set your intention and give permission that your miraculous self and your unconscious mind will make sure you're grounded, safe, and alert, grounded, safe, and alert, grounded, safe, and alert. Give permission for your miraculous self and your unconscious mind tonight and for the next 3 nights. Part of the time when you're sleeping, your unconscious mind can review what you did during this Coach-A-thon, and then your miraculous self will work with it to infuse it with wisdom, knowledge, concepts, skills, and abilities from your miraculous self, so that while you're sleeping, the benefits are being automatically integrated into your mind, into your emotions, into your body, and into your energy field. So that while you sleep soundly, deeply, and wake up feeling refreshed, the benefits are automatically being integrated into your mind, your emotions, your body, and energy field. And that can happen easily, naturally, while you sleep soundly and deeply tonight and for the next 3 nights. Let's dissolve our group energy space. And it's really, really important that you ask your miraculous self to retrieve your energy back out of everybody's space, especially mine, but everybody's space. Otherwise, you'll be depleted and it's not good for other people. So ask your miraculous self to bring all of your energy back to you, and we'll all get our energy out of your space. Give your miraculous self permission to fill you up with more of your authentic essence and with earth and universal energies that will help you now and in your next steps in life. So imagine your cells, your DNA, your chakras, your whole energy field is being filled with your authentic essence and supportive earth and universal energies. Go ahead and wiggle your fingers and toes and lightly stretch a bit. It's important to drink water after sessions like this because your body actually makes biochemical changes. When you drink water, and that's a good thing if you drink water and wash it out. If not, it can make you a little tired or groggy tomorrow. I want to thank you all so much for being part of this. A fantastic group energy. And again, I will urge you to come to Daima. The energy it's always been a powerful program, but I think this is going to be on a whole different level. The energy is just really, really building already. And of course, if you know other people that you think will benefit from Daima, let them know about it too. So thank you, everybody. I'll leave the chat open for a while, and I'll read them all later. But what a pleasure to be with you all. I've got a big smile on my face, and enjoy the rest of your evening, day, and I hope to speak to you soon.
Bye.
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 Thank you, Art. Bye.
Bye, everybody.
Oh, play the button.